I can't tell if it's my garage band, or if it's my mic, or if it's just me.
I am going to go last. Haha.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rub it in. I just like October a lot.
It's a little extra weird.
Hi there, welcome to the Reading Queens podcast. I sound like a show host or something. I
You
don't
are
know.
a show
This
host.
is a show and you're hosting it.
Oh, that's true. I know, but that was just like so, I don't know, whatever. Moving on. We're back with our unscripted, unfiltered, and ranty episode type of a setup. Well, I mean, it's not really ranty, but it is a discussion, and I'm really excited about it because I really love discussing things with my queens. So this is what we're here to do. Hi, I'm Valia, your show host.
Hello. This is what you get in the unfiltered episodes, all right?
I know, we're just nuts.
I'll get
It's
confused.
fine.
I'm going to go back on script now. I'm Hanna.
I'm Kay.
Kay likes to interrupt.
And I'm Tess.
And I just interrupted too. It's a good start,
Okay.
guys.
Yeah, you guys, this we're rolling with this, okay? So enjoy our randomness. But yes, we are here, as you can tell. And we are doing I'm sorry, we're good. We're doing a very interesting discussion today on our favorite, yay, subject ever, book ratings. Woohoo! No. We we wanted to have a discussion about the rating a book, basically 3 versus 5 star, and what, in our personal opinion, is the distinction between those two ratings, and just kind of our, I guess, feelings and emotions about that whole thing. Because we're writers, right? You guys understand that we're writers, and rating a book and reading reviews is something that, well, reading reviews is something we try to stay away from. But also rating a book can sometimes be difficult for us because we are also writers. So anyway, it's a whole thing, and we're here to talk about it. Yay!
Yay. I read my reviews. I just thought I'd go out and say that because I know you guys don't, but...
No, I read my reviews.
I do not.
I read my reviews, and let me just tell you, the reviews for The Scarlet Rose are so freaking fantastic. And
Because the book is so fantastic.
Oh,
I'm
yay.
just obsessing over these reviewers. Thank you, Hanna. But I'm obsessing over these reviewers, and I keep wanting to pull out little quotes. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use this quote in a newsletter. I'm gonna use this quote, and I'm gonna use this quote. But yeah, if you guys don't know, I am obsessed with my recent release. So that is all that I have to say about that.
As you should be.
But yeah, so how is life in your neck of the woods?
October is my favorite month of the year.
Because it's my birthday, right?
Nice.
Now you're excited for me.
That's why we
It's
all
my
love
birthday. It is my birthday, and I'm excited for me. No, I'm kidding. And you.
You guys are both October babies. I
Aren't
love
there
that.
like a couple other queens
Isn't
too?
your birthday around my daughter's birthday? I feel like we've discussed this.
I'm on the 4th.
Oh, okay, you're not then. My daughter's on the 17th.
That's not
someone we
close.
know, I swear,
I think
has
there's,
a
like-
birthday around my daughter's.
Isn't there 2 more queens in
I
October?
think so. I think it's
Yeah.
the
I
big
I feel like when we looked
birthday
at
month
it, yeah,
for
we
us.
were like, wow. I think, I can't say for sure because I've never had to experience October without my birthday, but I believe it would still be my favorite. Although May is also very good. But October, it's when, here, because I'm in BC, Canada, right? So in September, it's, starting to cool down. And there's, some of the little shrubs are turning. And then in October, the world is magical and golden. And I can walk through gutters of crunchy leaves. Does anyone else do this? Not even go on the sidewalk, but walk to where the most leaves are? You're a 5-year-old?
You have to do that.
Thank you.
You have
Thank
to crunch
you.
the leaves.
I mean, what
Yes.
If I don't, I
don't know what
literally
those are.
feel.
Please
or
come
if you
visit me,
crunch on the
Valia.
leaf and it's not crunchy, it's soft. I'm just so mad. I'm like, I swear that was a good crunchy leaf,
Yes.
but from
And a
sight,
little
it looked
shuffle.
like it was crunchy.
And
Yeah, you gotta
pine
crunch
cones
leaves.
also, I've learned recently, are also very satisfying. Crunchy
Yeah,
pine
you
cones.
gotta
and,
crunch
a
the
little
pine cones too. It's very
You guys
important.
are killing me here.
This is the best thing ever, Valia. Crunchy
I
leaves,
know.
crunchy
I
pine
grew
cones.
up with that.
Okay,
I
okay.
grew up with that,
Right,
and
yes,
I
you have
love
lived other
that,
places.
and so it's extra torturous to know.
I'm sorry. I'm not
that
trying to
it
rub it in.
exists.
I just like October a lot.
know.
And we have these aspen trees, and they all go golden, and I feel like I'm in Lothlorien, and that's all. If it rains a lot, I'm still okay, because, you know, it's cozy and stuff, but I like those bright, crisp, clear days, and it rained this morning, but it is pretty awesome right now. So I'd say
People with
October.
Seasons. I'm so
Not
jealous.
to rub it in, just you should probably move here and then everything will be fine.
No,
But not-
I know, but it's fine. Michigan is like that, and that's where my friend lives, and that's who I'm visiting. So
Oh, nice.
So you get the crunchy leaves too.
yeah,
Okay.
so I
Go
got to
crunch some
experience
leaves.
that. Yeah, exactly. I love
The
it.
best.
Anyway, okay, so let's just dive into this discussion because we're ready. I think we're ready to talk about
This
it.
is very important stuff.
It
We gotta
is.
hash it out.
No, but I think it's very interesting because obviously the podcast is for reading, right? I mean, that's our main focus, right? We're the reading queens, right? So we discuss books a little bit different than maybe other podcasts because we are also writers. So having this discussion was just a brilliant idea. Kay, thank you very much, because it's like the most perfect example of who we are, right? Because it's reading is so subjective, okay? Like somebody's gonna love a book who the other person's gonna hate with their whole heart, you know? And how does that, you know, translate, I guess, to us? Like, it always makes me sad when people 1-star Persuasion, which is my favorite, but it's fine. I get
How
it.
could anyone do such a thing?
I know. No, but that's what we're talking about it, right? And 3 to 5 stars, there's a distinction and all that's good stuff. So Kay, it's all you.
Okay, so as I was, this idea for this topic is something that I think about a lot, and I feel like it's not so much about the specific books necessarily. I feel like it's more about what is it as a reader that each of us care about the most, you know? And because, yeah, like Valia said, it's obviously extremely subjective. One person's 3-star is going to be one person's 5-star and another person's 1-star. You know, I mean, it's not, you're not saying that book alone is just a 3-star read. It was just a 3-star read for you. So I just like to think of it like, what is it to me that makes that difference? What is the difference between a book that I rated 3 stars as opposed to one that I rated 5 stars? What are the elements that a book really needs in order to get that 5-star rating as opposed to the 3-star rating? So I am going to go last. Haha.
Oh, well.
Because she came up with the idea.
Anyway,
suppose.
I would like Hanna to go first. Tell us what for you makes the difference.
I want to start with, if you look at my Goodreads, you will see almost never a 1 or a 2-star rating because I do not finish books I don't like. So I feel like my range, it's almost like I should have a bigger range than 3 to 5 because it's like only the books I finish. I think I have 1 2-star last year, and it's because I was reading out loud to my kids, and so I couldn't stop. But I didn't like it. But I think a lot of it for me, well, there's a few things, but pacing, I think, is a huge deal for me. If the pacing lags and I get bored, then it's going to get a lower review. Like, that's especially between, like, a 3 and a 4 or a 5. A lot of times it's pacing. It's, like, it's taking forever to get to what I think is interesting, or there's, like, a side plot that I don't care about, or just something that's, like, not really engaging. I don't usually give 3 stars because I'm offended by something, or like something like I don't like. I don't know. It's more like I just feel like the writing needed another go around of someone being like, oh, okay, you could have cut this whole section out and it would have been all right. A 4-star for me is usually like, I liked this book. I read this book. I liked this book. I feel like I give a lot of indie books 4 stars. I give most of my trad books either 3 or 5 because I seem to either hit or they miss. And there's a lot of indie books for me that I'm like, these were really good, but they were just like lacking whatever thing that just makes me like so excited. I do give a lot of indie books 5 stars. I'm just saying that I think I give more indie books 4 stars than trad books. That's just on looking back at my thing. Or if it's like an author I really love, but it's not my favorite book by that author. So you're like, it was still good. I still liked it better than most other people's books, but I know how good they can write. I know that it could be amazing, and this one is just like, not didn't quite hit it for me. 5-star almost always has a good romance because that is me, but it doesn't have to. It has a good pacing. I usually read a 5-star book in 2 days, unless it's Brandon Sanderson, because then it's like it takes, a week or two because it's like 5 books stuck together. If it's one of the Stormlight archives. And you're like, you look at the word count. Anyway. Like, I binged a whole ton of rom-coms, and most of them got 4, because I was like, I pretty much like most of these. And then a few, I was like, these ones are 5 stars, because they are, like, a step
Extra
above.
special.
Yeah, something about it that you really like.
That's cool. I like that. Valia, will you go next?
Sure, I suppose. I think a lot of it has to do with pacing for me, too, just because I like, fast pacing. Like, I'm a fast paced writer, so like my books need to be those snacks that I can digest really fast. But a big thing for me are characters. If I don't care about like the character right off the bat, I'm not gonna have a good time with this book. And so the book might be good, it might redeem itself, so it'll get a 3-star rating at that time, but like I have to be so involved with these people. Like I have to understand them on a personal level, and I have to be there with them for me to be like, with the description and the setting, like I love those elements, but they don't make or break a book for me, because I can literally just read a book that is just 2 people in the same room, locked in, snowed in, and having, this fiery relationship situation happening. Like, that's what I swear, I really love those locked in books, like where they're just stranding somewhere and they don't like each other. It's the best.
They don't like each other yet, is what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're like best friends and they love each other, but neither one of them want to talk about
also
it. Also
excellent.
Like, stuck together in the same place. Yes. So, I mean, the setting, that whole situation is not. Some people really rate books 5 stars. I've seen this. And some of my books have not been rated 5 stars because they're like, oh, it could have used more description, but the characters were great, and I'm like, well, yeah, but that's what I gravitate towards when I'm a reader. And that's why I think I really love thriller books, outside of like the young adult genre, is because those are character driven. Like, yeah, you have the mystery and you have the setting, but your setting can be a rest stop, like you can't make that exciting, for people, but those characters and those relationships, like that's what's gonna make, like, if you make me feel for these people and if you make me like want to be their friend or want to murder them, like, then we're good. Like, that's gonna put you at 5 stars.
I would agree with that. I have to have like a strong feeling at the end and like connection.
Yeah, and those books that fall into that 4 rating are those books that it's like, if you just had like 20 more pages and given me like 2 epilogues maybe with these people, then maybe. Although it doesn't even have to be at the end. There are some books, and specifically a book that I'm thinking of right now, where it's just taken such a long time in the very beginning of the book. It's a standalone read. In the very beginning of the book, it's just taken so long for me to like even get to know who this character is. Like, they did the setting and this character, is the only character really that's like the main character, but I know nothing about her, and I care absolutely nothing about anything that happens to her. So I'm like, you can't do that in the beginning of the book and not give us something to root for. Like, you're here for the people. At least I am. So those 3-star reads are definitely ones that are kind of like, yeah, okay, you survived or whatever, yay for you. But the 5-star reads are the ones.
You didn't die. That's great.
Yeah. I suppose you saved the world, yay, woohoo. But those 5-star reads are the ones that I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, let me tell you about these people, and this is what they're doing, and I need you to read this book because I need you to feel these emotions with me.
I would also say that when I read I leave a 3-star, I won't read the sequel, probably. I would be like, same. I finished this book.
And my reward is
job,
I don't have to read the next book.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I kind of don't care what happens next. And a 4-star is like, yeah, I'll try another one. Let's see how it goes,
Yeah, but you probably like won't pre-order it or go out of your way to grab it.
Like 5 stars, like, where is that book?
Yes,
give me
like
number 2.
You pre-ordered it right away, which is what I did with one of my current reads. Like, I pre-ordered book 2 like right away, and then it came out, and I was like, yay! I didn't have to wait a year, but now I will have to wait a year for the third book.
That's funny. Okay, Tess, you are next.
So I kind of have pretty similar, like, whatchamacallit to what other people have said. Like Hanna, I've never really read a 1 or 2 star book because it's usually pretty early on that I'm like, I just don't really want to finish this. But I'm also like, I'm a really gentle reviewer. I don't tend to like even review very harsh. Like if I don't really like a book, I'm very willing to accept that it's not the book. It's like, it's just not the book for me. And maybe it's just not what I want. Like I can see why people like it. And I can see why other people would find it a 5-star, but it just doesn't have the elements that I personally like at this time. And I can even see certain books as being books I would have loved like 4 years ago when I was into like other things. Like 4 or 5 years ago, if you would have given me a book about a character who's a really good person, doesn't have a lot of flaws, gets into a relationship with another very good person, and they have no conflict in the relationship, I would have loved that 4 or 5 years ago. Now I cannot get into books like that. Now I need books, like I tend to like books more that are about characters who are like on the flawed side, and have a really strong character arc growth. And when it comes to the romance, which romance is very important to me when I pick out books, I want there to be a lot of conflict, and I want there to be a lot of tangible reason why the couple it can't just get together on the first page. Like there needs to be a lot and since romance is important to me. So my criteria has changed for what is a 4-star review or 4 or 5-star book, because like 5 years ago, if I read a book about a flawed character, like even when I read The Cruel Prince the first time, I wasn't quite into flawed characters yet, and that was just a couple years ago. And so book 1 was like I liked it. That was probably at the time maybe a 3-star read for me, whereas now that's like all I want to read about. And so like now I'm like, yeah, give me those dysfunctional relationships and show me how they grow. Whereas like I just wanted them to get along from the start and just like be nice to each other.
Can you just be happy?
So yeah, so it's really funny. I've changed as a reader. So even books that would have been a 3-star, a couple years ago, now would probably be a 4 or 5. So I guess I don't know what my point was there, besides just saying that reading is even subjective for my past self. Like I can't even, like the books that I like now are just different from what I even liked a couple years ago. It's crazy. But yeah, so anyways, I don't tend to read like, I feel like for me the same, like if it's a 3-star read, it's usually like that was a good book. I don't think I'm going to read the next book in the series if it's a series, just because maybe I wasn't intrigued enough, maybe I didn't feel enough emotions, or maybe at the end I was left just feeling kind of like empty and just not really, I don't know. So while I do like conflict in relationships, if it's something that just like makes me feel just tired and kind of just empty about it at the end, sometimes I don't want to read more. Like I want to be, it's so weird because I can't even quantify like the things that make me like or dislike the like conflict. Because sometimes you get all the way to the end of a book and you're just like, man, that was just like kind of like tedious and like I just feel sad and just like empty, and I don't really want to be with these characters anymore, Like, I want them to put me through an emotional roller coaster that makes me really excited to keep going, and not that makes me feel like I just can't be around these people for another book. So maybe that's like what a 3-star review or a 3-star rating book would be something like that. Or a book, like either a book that just made me, just not really vibe with the characters, or maybe it just like wasn't my jam. Maybe it was a little, I don't know, I guess like a book that was good and just kind of like, maybe boring or something would be a 3-star review or 3-star rating. But yeah, I mean, I've read books that have been good and have gone on to read the next one. Like, oh, okay, yeah, now we're getting there. 4-star would probably be a book that I really, really liked. So I'm like I really, really enjoyed it. But maybe the same. Maybe I'm not like super excited about the next one. Like maybe I really love that book, but I kind of just want it to be over. I kind of just want that book or that series to just be done. But a 5-star rating would be something that made me feel a lot of emotions, feel really connected to the characters, just really fall in love with like the setting and the world building, and just especially if it has a really strong romance. Those ones are going to be more likely to get in like the 5-star. But yeah, I mean, I have a really hard time talking about this because I feel like there's some books that I've read that are so similar, and I can't even put my finger on, like, why was that one a 4 and why was that one a 5? Like, was I just in the right mood for that
Yeah.
one? And, like, if I read that 3-star book today and I was in the mood for it, would I have loved it? So, I don't know.
That's so
but
true. I do wonder
yeah,
about the
that's-
mood thing too for me. But then I'm also like, but I don't know, maybe not, you know, because there are some books that, yeah, I don't know. I just have wondered about that too. I feel like something you said made me think of this. It's a 3-star book. I feel like it feels like a chore to read. And then a 5-star book.
You're like, I don't have a reason to stop, so
Like
I guess
a 5-star
keep
book,
reading.
you're like excited to read, right? So, Valia mentioned this at the beginning, but as we are all authors, I think it definitely comes across as like not very nice to have an author, you know, 2 or 1-star a book just because it's like, oh, you think you're so much better than them, right? So yeah, I mean, let's just say 3 stars, the lowest rating I ever give ever. And I actually just looked this up. Out of the 150 books that I've read on Goodreads, 9 of them have been 3 stars. And of those 9, 3 of them I probably would not have rated 3 stars. If I rated them the way that I do today, I probably would not have rated them 3 stars. I would have given them 4. So here's a little secret for those of you listening to the podcast. No one else will ever know this. If I rate a book 3 stars, I hated it, okay? Like, that's just how it goes.
It's K's 1
It
star.
is, okay?
That's your
Like, I
secret
always
1
give
star.
a book 4 stars if I can. And the reason that I don't ever want to go lower than 3 stars is because I do respect the authors. You know what I mean? I respect the fact that they wrote it and that they still have skill. Even if it didn't work for me, it's still a good book. I can admit that even if I hated it with every fiber of my being, you know, that still took a lot of work to get that book out there. And it's still, you know, like I would never want to rate lower than a 3 stars just because I am an author, you know, and I respect that skill. So anyway.
So nice.
I know.
I was checking. I have, for the past 2 years are the only years I've been keeping track on Goodreads. But I've got 3 3-stars from each year, and I've got 1 2-star from each year. Like I said, I don't do 1 stars because I don't finish them. But most of mine are 5 stars. So I do feel I'm very generous with my 5 stars. It's like I've read 57 books this year, and 37 were 5 stars.
That's pretty good.
So I'm not one of, like, I feel like some people are like, I love all books, but you have to be like the pinnacle of amazing to get a 5-star. Like if you look at their things and you're like, oh, you really have to like, you got like 2 5-stars a year kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I liked it. It was good. 5 stars. Moving on.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, the biggest thing is I don't emotionally connect. And I feel like when I don't emotionally connect to the book, every plot twist, I see it coming, and it's just annoying to read it. Every time you see a clue, you're like, really? Again? Who is not realizing this plot twist? This is so obvious. But I think the thing is, when you're into a book, it's not as obvious. I think those clues are more well hidden because you're more invested in the other things that are going on, so you don't necessarily notice the clues as easily. But I have found in the books specifically that are the ones that are 3 stars for me, the plot twists are so obvious to me. I'm just like, I generally figure out plot twists before they're revealed, but that's an author thing. That's only because you start to notice, once you start to write it, you start to notice it.
This is why
you know?
we're like annoying to watch movies with.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's between like recognizing that there's a plot twist coming and being like, that is so obvious. Why isn't nobody noticing this, you know?
Like, it should have been obvious to the characters. That's when it gets in, like, if I know a plot twist is coming, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
Just wait till this comes. I'm predicting it. But then when it's like, why do you not see this?
Right?
Why do you not see this? All the clues
So
are in front of
obvious.
you. You should know. Yeah, that's the kind of
Yeah.
plot twist that, like, when you see them coming,
Yeah.
it is not
And
exciting.
like I think Valia was saying with the pacing, or no, maybe Hanna did. It doesn't matter. The pacing is a big deal. If it's boring, if I'm like, I don't even care what happens next. If you're at the point where you're like,
just make
if
it
someone
happen.
dies and you're like, okay, I guess that happened.
Yeah, whatever.
Although I have to say that did happen in a book that I just rated 5 stars. I actually did really like the book, but yeah, let's just say that character death was... It did not sadden me at all. I was like, whatever. I did like the rest of the book, though. Anyway, so yeah, those kinds of things. When it's boring, don't emotionally connect, if the tone's not quite right. The other thing is, I do not like love triangles. And I know we've talked about if the trope is done right, you'll like it. I've never read a love triangle that I liked. I'm sorry. I do not like them. So a few of the 3-star books on my list have love triangles. Not all of them. That's not the only reason. But let's just say if it has a love triangle, I do not like that part of the book. So, okay, there are some that are done better than others that are like, I still maybe like the book a lot, even if I'm not.
There's the 1-star love triangles.
Yes,
the
there you go.
But there's no 5-star love triangles.
Maybe a 4-star.
Maybe a 4-star. You do a really good job.
Okay, so the 5-star books, though, for me, I feel like they're really believable. They're the ones that I can really get into, and I don't feel like I'm suspending my disbelief very much. I feel like it makes sense. Okay, I'm still okay suspending my disbelief, all right? There are plenty of great scenarios that I'm like, that's not realistic at all. I don't care. I love it, you know? It's still fun. Also, there are lots of books where maybe the plot isn't my thing, but I really appreciate the skill of the writing. I'll give those a higher rating just because I can appreciate that a lot. So that's it for me. Of course I am. I am proudly. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
I know, I love it.
Do you guys rate books and not review them? Because I'm
Yes.
super lazy and I've started rating every book I read because I'm trying to track them, but I only review like your guys'
Nice.
Don't tell Amazon.
I do try to review
or, like,
them
anything I'm
just
really
because it
excited about.
helps me remember the plot. Although my reviews, I
right.
feel like, have gotten less specific. I think, again, just because of that, I'm an author afraid to say certain things about someone
Yeah.
else's book, you know, because I can still respect them. And so I do try to rate that. I do try to do a review, though, just so I can remember it. But I only do it on Goodreads.
Yeah, so since we're sharing secrets, sharing secrets. If I didn't love the book and it's not like a 4 or 5-star, I just don't star it at all.
Oh, yeah.
I will put it on my red, but I don't. I've only recently, in the last year probably, I've started to just rate books that are 5 stars for me. And everything else, like not even 4 stars most of the time, 5 stars. And everything else, I'm like, nope, we're not doing this. So I glanced at my Goodreads while you were talking, and I have read 764 books according to the Goodreads when I remember to track it. And you can tell when I started publishing because the reviews before then, yeah, let's just say that
You were a much more critical reviewer.
yes, but also after I started publishing, you said you will respect the author and like their hard work. Yeah, there's some authors who I do not respect, and I am very honest about it. So yeah, that's my secret. You're welcome.
I think something else to mention as we're talking about reviews, if you are a reader and not an author, please feel free to give whatever rating that you feel is appropriate. You know, don't feel like you need to give
honest.
only 3-star doesn't have to be your lowest rating. Some people that's just how they are. 3 stars are their lowest rating, and that's great too. Just be true to yourself when you leave those reviews. That's the main thing.
Also, yeah, and also some people, honestly, rating a book 3 stars is like the greatest compliment they can give you because that's their most favorite books. Like they never will rate anything 4 or 5 stars. And
Yeah,
3
like,
star
very
is,
rarely.
like, the highest. Yeah, so I mean, it like we said, it's so subjective. Like you don't know what people are thinking when they're like reviewing the books and giving them the stars because, as you guys can tell, each one of us have a different idea of what those stars mean for us. So yeah, definitely just be true to yourself, and we'll only cry a little bit. It's fine.
It's
Only a
fine.
little bit.
We totally get reviews that are like, this is the best book ever, and I loved everything, and when's the next one coming out? 3.5 stars. You're like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Like, why are you excited
If
about
it's
it
the
if
best
it was
book
only
ever,
3.5?
it's okay to give 4 stars. I'm just gonna say.
You can go on for 4.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And when I get the 5-star reviews that say 4.5 under them, even though I know why people do it, I'm still like a little bit like, oh. Can you just give me the 5? You gotta like quantify the 4.5.
Like, I just need to make sure you know that even though I said this is a 5, it's actually not. It
It's
is less than
yeah.
that.
Slightly under.
But at least
Didn't
they
wanna be
gave
a
you a
liar.
5 instead of giving you a 3, and then
It's
it's
true.
actually a 3.5.
It's a
Okay
3.5.
then.
Round up. Okay, we will tell you this is all. Just
Yeah, I
round
do.
up.
The rounding up is nice.
You don't have to round down.
I'm just gonna make
Don't
everybody
make us
rethink
cry.
their system.
I don't cry.
No.
I just don't read my reviews just because, yeah. The only reviews I will read are ones that readers have tagged me
on
in.
Instagram.
Because to
Oh,
me
don't do
that says,
either, readers.
on Instagram, because to me it tells me that they really want me to read it and I really love interacting with my readers. But I will say that sometimes someone tags me in one and I'm like, why did you tag
Yeah.
me?
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, why did you want me to read
Use
that?
our hashtag if you want it to be like linked with other books, but don't tag the author in a poor review because it's really like kind of like emailing them and telling them you didn't like their book. Which,
It's definitely
did you
okay to
need to
say
do
you
that?
didn't like it.
yeah, talk amongst
but-
yourselves.
But to tag the author, especially indie authors, it usually tells us that you want us to read it and we really want to support our readers. So just know that when you know, that's kind of the way a lot of indie authors operate. Like, oh, you tagged me in this, you want me to read it. And then they're like, oh, you didn't like it that much. Okay, well, thank you for reading and reviewing, but now I'm going to go rock back and forth and,
You're like,
and
should I
contemplate.
comment? I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'll pretend I didn't see
It
this.
is always helpful though to leave a review. For those of you who
Yes.
don't know as listeners, really there is honestly no better way to help an author. So if you're ever thinking that, wow, this book was really good, but I already bought it, there's no other way to support the author, there is. Just go leave a review. That's a really big deal. And also, if you in your review talk about the things that you liked, that's going to help other readers who like those things know that that book is a good book for them. You know, say like maybe it's just, oh, I really emotionally connected to the characters, or the setting was so magical. You know, somebody who's looking for a book where they can emotionally connect to the characters and it has a magical setting, they're going to see that review and be like, this is it. This is my book. So
And even if you talk about the things you don't
exactly.
like if you're like, I don't like this book because there was only kissing in it, and other people are like, all I wanted was kissing. Thank you for telling me.
Sometimes those reviews are the ones that sell me. So even though, you know, we're talking about as authors, sometimes 3-star reviews like make us sad or whatever. As a reader, I like 3-star reviews. So just, you know,
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword. As an author, I'm like the most sensitive little fish ever. Like, I just do
It's
not
our
have
own
a
fault
thick
for
skin.
reading them. They weren't written
It's
for
yes.
us. We're just being like voyeuristic and reading our reviews, and if we get hurt, that's on us. Really.
But as a reader, those reviews are sometimes the most important ones because they'll be like, oh, this is really good, but here's all the things I didn't like. And I'll either be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not really the things I like either. Or I'll be like, oh, they didn't like that. That's totally my jam. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this is the book for me. Never mind. I'm going to buy it.
I do have to say, sometimes if I'm reading and it feels like a 3-star or a 2-star read for me, I go straight to Goodreads and I look at those 1-star reviews with people ranting, and I'm like, okay, bring it in. Let's have a
Yes.
conversation.
There's something validating about reading reviews of people who hated the same things about about the book as you.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm not the only one.
Exactly.
I read the 3 and 4-star reviews so that I can decide if I should finish reading the book.
Oh, that's smart.
I've done that too.
Or if
yeah.
I'm going to want book 2. That is the only reason I finished Throne of Glass, I have to say. I was halfway through and I was like, this is really, like, standard YA nonsense. And then I went on and everyone was obsessed by book 3 and I was like, all right, I'll push
Yeah, they're like, you have to
through."
keep reading. If you make it through this part, then you're really going to like the series.
Like,
Like,
she was a new
okay.
author. She was doing her best. We're like,
Yeah,
okay,
we can all
I do.
understand that.
And sometimes by
Yeah,
book 2,
exactly.
people are like, this is worse. And I'm like, okay.
I also love to read 4 and 5 star reviews of a book that I loved. You know, it's like helps me feel like I'm back in the
Yes.
world again. It just like brings me right back. Even though the story's over, it feels like I'm still in the world, you know? So I love that.
And it's like you're talking with your friends
Yeah,
about the book,
exactly.
kind of.
Yeah, then in that case, I'm like, don't even look at me 3-star review. I'm
Exactly.
only here for the 5 stars because
Then we
that is
filter
where my
out those
feelings are.
3 stars.
We are not talking about those 3-star subjects.
In any case, all reviews are helpful. So just always leave those reviews if you read a book.
And on that note, no, that was really great. I think we should really do more of these just one topic discussions like these because I don't know, I love this. I love
We get to
hearing your
dig
guys'
deep.
thoughts. Yeah, like I love hearing you guys' thoughts on how you read and how you process things and how your mind works.
Valia's pro Valia.
Yeah, sorry. It happens. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, love having you guys here. Don't ever leave. Yeah. And let us know if you have a topic that you guys want us to discuss. I think that would be just an interesting thing to see, like, you know, and then tell us what you think about 3 versus 5 star reviews and how you feel about them. And speaking of reviews, leave us a review on your favorite
They
podcast
don't just help
platform.
authors, they also help podcasts.
Exactly. And it can be at any. And then also make sure to follow us on Instagram at Reading Queens Pod and interact with us there. And that is all we have for you today. Be back next week for more excitement, and we'll talk to you